Hey friends, welcome back for season 3 of the Strangers in Common podcast. As always, I hope this finds you well, but if you're not well, that's okay. I'm always here for you. This season we have a lot of great guests. We're going to cover a huge array of different topics, some serious, some funny, possibly some dull. We'll see. And much like my other seasons, I do have a couple episodes, this first one being one where we had some technical issues. To pull back the curtain a little bit, we record on different platforms. So depending on how our guests need to record, it could be over the phone, it could be through an app. So sometimes there is hiccups. We edited out the gaps where we had, where we might have lost connection. So just so you're aware, if it sounds weird in certain spots, that's probably what it is. But none of the story got left out or anything like that. So with that being said, and a ton of gratefulness that you guys put up with my mistakes like that, we're going to go ahead and get to know somebody that you don't. And today we're going to meet Saikari. Saikari, thank you so much for joining me on this.
It's my pleasure. It's been, some time. We spoke about it, and I'm delighted to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So we can just jump right in. You can take me on a journey of what your life has been.
All right. Well, I'm Saikari Master, and this is my story with Strangers in Common. I can say my earliest memories would be 4 years old. I remember my dad, my mom, my older brother, and we had a dog. Her name was Sandy. It was kind of like the nuclear family kind of thing going on.
Okay.
Two kids and a dog, and it was really cool because I had like a really gentle kind of upbringing. Like my mom, she was like my mom and dad had these traditional gender roles going on. So my dad was
Right.
like the hard ass, blue collar guy. My mom was, the homemaker, caretaker, and
Okay.
it was good enough for me not to know that we were poor. Like, like it was amazing,
You know what's
And
funny? That there is a lot of people I talk to, including myself, have that same sentiment where we grew up poor and had no clue on how poor we were.
that's good parenting.
Yeah.
Like, because are you really poor? Like when you can have joy as a child, when you can actually be a child, you can share meals. You might not have had, like we didn't have a dining room. We had the kitchen, living room kind of thing, one
Right.
bedroom. My brother was 10 years older than me, so around this time he's about 14 when I'm 4. So he had the bedroom. My parents slept in the living room on a pull-out couch, and I slept in the
Okay.
middle. You feel me? So it was like I didn't know that wasn't, what the average person would want for, their 4-person household.
Right.
And yeah, well, oh yeah, I left off. Oh, him being 10 years older, so he had a different kind of outlook on things. Him being a teenager, high or going into high school, having extracurricular things going on. He's been an athlete, and him recognizing that we were poor, he kind of got into a bit. I don't want to say trouble, but he got into the streets a bit.
Right.
And me, I could say like I just was a goofy kindergartner. Like I was a goofy kid in kindergarten. Played with my toys, played games in the house.
Right.
Went on walks and hikes with my dad. You know what I mean? We
Right.
weren't that poor because we had a vehicle. We had one car. But I remember everything just went crashing down. Um, I was maybe in first grade at the time. I had to be about 5, and then like my whole life changed overnight. Um,
What happened?
One evening we was all just hanging out in the house. my brother wasn't home, and he had the dog. The dog was out, so it was just my parents and myself. Mom and I were watching TV on the couch. My pop was on the couch, and I just hear this big bang, boom, and three guys with firearms just walked into my house. My father got up, and they hit him right in the face with a gun. Um, Dad took a gun to the face, and I seen him bleeding. And my only thought in that moment, like my mom, she was holding me really tight, and my only thought in that moment was to do what she does anytime my dog is doing something, bad, which is grab the broom and like kind of like shoo her away, like kind of scare her from doing something she didn't want to do
Right.
or she didn't want her to do. And it's very important. In that moment, I didn't feel fear. I felt like I needed to jump into action, and I could say like that was my first time ever feeling like I guess a warrior spirit. I needed to protect, and that night we ended up sleeping in the car because our door was pushed off the hinges, and when we came back home, the super he fixed the door, and then a few nights after that, our house got raided by police. This time my
Oh, wow.
father wasn't. So a few days later, and my feeble child like mine, it felt like a few days later. It wasn't that long though, because I still was around the same. I still was the same age. The house still looked the same, and I was in the house with my mom. My brother wasn't there. My father wasn't there. Uh, and the dog wasn't there. And police kicked the door, and I could remember like these towering men, these tall men, me as a 4 or 5 year old, these men towering over me, these Caucasian men, and which
Right.
is strange occurrence for me because I'm an inner city kid. So my neighbors, my peers, they're all POC. The only Caucasian people that's in my city, in the inner city, are teachers, firemen, firefighters, excuse me, and police. So they're
Right.
all in position of authority. So I don't. These guys, I don't. These guys aren't my peers. So you know what I'm saying? So it was a fear already there. And I remember I was wearing this white foot in the room undershirt and these Yankee shorts, the white ones with the pinstripe, the upside down hat with the baseball bat in it.
Yeah.
I remember it so vividly, and I'm not a baseball fan at all. Like I just remember that so vividly because I remember those shorts. And I remember they had their gloves on, and they frisked me like I was a fucking adult or something. I don't know what they were looking for. They just frisked me, and
At five,
I'm sorry.
5 years old.
Yeah, they frisked me. They treated me like I was, a
Wow.
threat. I guess. It was a weird occurrence, and it did leave a distaste in my mouth, um,
Yeah,
for authority.
understandably.
And then also you have people in your neighborhood. As I got older, they already have a Compton NWA kind of attitude towards law enforcement.
Right.
That comes later in life though. And I remember after that we moved to my grandmother's house. Like I'm talking about our clothes and garbage bags. My dad drove over, and she lived a few blocks away. That was his mom's house. And after seeing my mother in handcuffs, I haven't seen her again for weeks after this. My mother's arrested. Um, what's strange is we moved into my grandmother's house. She lived in an apartment on the fourth floor, 3 bedroom. It was like 7 people in it, including my father, myself, and my brother. And she was really awful to me. Like the first Harry Potter, how his parents treated him. Like she was terrible to me. And she didn't like my mom so much that she kind of just hated me and my brother too. And
Wow.
going up there, it was fun because I was a child, so I made the best of it. But to be honest, it was a horrible, like it was horrible. Like the neglect, the way I was treated, how I was fed. It was just a really bad thing.
Yes.
But
I can't even
my father,
imagine.
looking back at it, I don't even know how I was able to, keep my mental fortitude or gain a mental fortitude.
Right.
Um, but I appreciate that time now. And I look at it, my dad, because we're from Jersey City, New Jersey. In the prison my mom was being held, she was in the county before she went to the female prison, which is in Clinton. Um, we used to walk. So I'm a little kid, like I'm a baby, really. Um, at this time, I'm like my daughter, my oldest daughter's age. She's 6. So me and my
Okay.
dad, we're taking these trips to go see my mother in jail. You know, um, I remember seeing my mother behind a glass. I also remember seeing my mother at a round table. She couldn't touch me. Like she had the state greens on. You feel me? And I remember that vividly, being like in situations where I go to school and these kids, their mothers are picking them up from school. Their both parents are picking them up, and people from my neighborhood didn't have a lot of, like, it wasn't a lot of daddies. But the school I went to, it was like big on multicultural. So I'm going to school with Indian kids, Asian kids, uh, a little bit of Caucasian kids. But these kids in my classroom had mommies and daddies at home, and I used to have that. So when I
Right.
go back to my neighborhood on my block with my friends, they only got mothers. I'm the only one with no mother. It
Right.
always felt like no matter where I went, so a part of me was just stripped away from me. And going to my friend's house and watching how their grandmother treated me like a grandson, and going back to my own house, my grandmother's house, and how she treated me like she treated me like my mother was the other woman.
Right.
Like, it was terrible, man. Um, but
Like a redheaded stepchild, as they say, right?
yeah, 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 man. I was like the I can't say the black sheep, but close enough,
Right.
Um, but fast forward, it was one day I remember because my mother, she had a big thing for Pepsi, right? She was she really loved Pepsi. And my father, he didn't drink soda, like he didn't drink soda at all. And I
Yeah.
remember one day he picked me up from school and he had a Pepsi in his hand. And this is years later. I think my mom's like 2 years in a thing, her first bid. And I seen the Pepsi in his hand and I automatically knew my mother was somewhere. So I looked at him, I'm like, Daddy, where mommy at? And he's like, how you know? And then she was behind the bushes. And that was like one of the best coming from home stories I could say. Like,
Oh wow.
to have my mom after 2 years of her in prison or, jail, it's a difference. But
Yeah.
it was cool, man. And she saved up all of her money in jail just so she could take me on a date. Like, it was crazy.
Right.
Like, she starved in jail so she could take me on a date. Um,
I mean, that shows some devotion, though, because that's not, I know, I mean, I don't know, but I'm guessing that's not easy.
can't be. Because you got to survive. You think about it. If you out of your element, if you're thrown into a different ecosystem, especially when you're not a criminal yourself.
Right.
Oh, because the situation was weird. We'll get to that a little later. Um,
Mhm.
and she stayed home for a bit, and then after that, she ended up going to jail again for 4 more years.
Oh, wow.
So going through my small childhood, getting into, I guess, right before I got into middle school, so like around 5th grade, she came back home, and this time she stayed home.
Right.
We lived with my grandmother for a while, up until I could say I was about 12, going on 13. I, um, I went away to my sister's house because my mother has 5 children from her previous marriage before my older brother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a thing too. She should have wrote a book. But anyway,
So she has 7 total then?
yeah, I'm the baby.
Okay.
Yeah, like I have like my older sister is older than you. Like she's probably like 11 years your senior. You
Oh, wow.
know. um, but I made this joke because I went to my sister's house for a while. It was like over the summer. I did an extended stay. I stayed there for like 3 weeks, which I never do. I usually go like at least no, I stay for like the whole summer. I usually stay a month in the summertime, and I spend the rest of the summer with my dad. And what was what was crazy? My auntie came over. I miss her dearly. My father's sister. She was at because you know how it would be like everybody go to grandma's house, everybody go to big mama house on Sundays,
Right.
and I'm like Auntie Belle, you you know why you didn't see me? I was a kid. I'm like Auntie Belle, guess where I was at and why you didn't see me? She's like, where you was at? I was in jail. I thought it was just funny to play like that because the older guys in my neighborhood, when they come home, people be
Oh
happy to.
yeah.
And my grandmother looked at me and said, "Soon enough, you will be." And I'm
Wow.
like, "Ouch!" Like, damn, nigga. Like everybody else gonna count me out, and you gonna do it first. Like you
Right.
already took some shit. But I just ate that, and out of all of the things she did, I couldn't just take that on the chin. Like this time, I just couldn't take that shit. And my mom, she was working for the Salvation Army. She started off doing maintenance there, and then she ended up doing caretaking for the children and stuff because she has a background in caretaking. She could be a homemaker.
Okay.
Uh, Before my father actually retired her and had her, sit your ass down and take care of the family, and I take care of you.
Right.
But but I told my mother. And my mother, she's a soft person. She's always a soft ass. Like that's why I get my gentle, loving, caring nature from I get it from her. Um, and when I told her, she had tears in her eyes, and then she came home. She came to because we was living with my grandmother, and she approached her. And then my grandma was like, "Well, you're gonna need to give me my rent, or you could leave." And she was like, "I'm leaving. I'm not going." And my father was in the bedroom, and he was just laying down watching his mother and the mother of his children go back and forth.
Wow.
And he's just listening. And then he was like, Lisa, because that's my mother's middle name. He like, just give her the money. And she's like, no, she just disrespected my baby while you was here. And I'm in the middle of this shit. And she starts packing her shit. We don't have nowhere to go. We had no plans. We had no money. You know what I mean? And that's my first time ever seeing my father have tears in his eyes. Like he didn't cry, but he had the water in his eyes. What's my second time? The first time is when his brother passed away. When his brother died, that's the first time I seen my pops cry. That's the only time I seen my pops cry.
Oh wow.
And this time I seen him, he teared up, and I'm like, this is a big deal. But I did what he taught me to do. Always take care of your mama, take care of your family. I take care of y'all, and you take care of them. That's what he
Right.
told me. So I went with my mother. Yeah. So I decided to, go with her, and we was, jumping couch to couch together, living with relatives. We even stayed with my older sister for some time. Um, and it was difficult. It was hard because it wasn't nothing stable. Like renting rooms
Right.
really. But the thing is, I still went to my pop's house. You know what I mean? I'm gonna see my father. You know what I mean? He gonna see
Right.
me. And after some time, a couple months passed, and I'm going back to my grandmother. I was hanging out with my cousin. My grandmother still being her, but she just kind of just let it be what it was.
So your
And
mom and dad stayed together, right? They didn't split or anything like that.
they ain't split, but my mom's is, what I mean? She worked, what I mean? He'd come to her job when he wasn't working.
Right.
He'd see me. I go to school, so my mother worked across the street from my school, and her job was across the street from the block that my grandmother used to live in. So everything was like right, like boom, bam, bang. And after school, I go to my mother's job because I get off around like what 2:45, 3 in middle
Right.
school, and I go hang out with my mom, get some food from her job, and then I'll go to my father's house to do my homework and chill with my pops because he'd get off of work at 4, he'd get home like 4:30, 4:40, and my mother got off at like 6. So my mom would come over, grandmother house, and she'll just sit and hang out with my pops for like an hour or two. By 8 o'clock, we was out on our way home, wherever we was living at. If it was in the Heights or if it was, a few blocks away, whatever family member we was living with. And we did this from the age of about 12 all the way up until 14, going on 15.
Wow.
Right before I started high school, and that's when we got our first. We got our house. We got another house. So,
That's crazy. That's a long time to bounce around and stuff.
yeah, especially for somebody, like I got school, I'm a kid, I don't got no business like living like that,
Right.
And I ain't have no animosity towards my pop. As I got older, I felt like, yo, what kind of man would? But then I thought about it. What kind of man would be homeless with the other two? Like, he only got his mom, and my mother, she got children. She got family members and relatives. You know what I'm saying? So I
Right.
get the politics behind his decision. He would be no good for me or her if he was in the same position as me and her. Um, and I work hard, so I would never have to have that kind of dilemma.
Yeah. No,
But
I understand that completely.
we ended up getting the spot. My pop felt good about it. They both worked hard individually and together to make sure they got another spot. And I started high school. That summertime, I started boxing with my best friend that I met in middle school. Me and him, we got into boxing. Uh, high school was a different experience.
Yeah.
Um, Freshman year was pretty cool. I think I lost my virginity freshman year, and my life went like really crazy after that. Like I could say, after losing my virginity, a lot of shit that probably should have happened to me did happen to me. Um, and then sophomore year, one of my closest friends got murdered.
Oh wow.
Uh, Somebody I met in around like fifth grade, sixth grade, he got killed. Another guy that was a neighbor of mine, his friend killed him, and then they tried to make it seem like a suicide. He's left-handed, but he shot himself with his right hand, which is crazy to me.
Oh shit. Yeah.
They found his killer, and his killer was related to one of my closest friends, which is crazy too. So that was weird.
How did that affect you being in high school and having to deal with something like that?
Well, to be honest, nothing good comes from that.
Right.
But I could say being conditioned, it like my first traumatic experience is at 4 years old, But
Right.
witnessing somebody get murdered, like it was this dude named Frankie when I was a kid, before my friends started, being murdered or going to jail for murder. Well, not friends, but people that I, went to school with before they started being murdered and being involved in murder. This homeless dude named Frankie, he used to wear helmets, he used to stink like shit all the time. He used to be like, yo, give me a cigarette. He never used to mess with the kids. But he had just always, kind of haggle with adults and shit, trying to get cigarettes, smoking cigarettes on the floor. He ain't never bothered
Yeah.
nobody for real. His brother ended up stabbing him up. He stabbed him like 20 something times,
Holy
killed
shit.
him just so he could get his check. He tried to hide the body and shit. But some of my friends, my friend Dante and Keith found the body. And we all around the same age. So they showed me the shit. And then when I seen that, it was like, yo, this shit is some cold kid style shit. My father be watching that. I need to go home and tell
Right.
somebody. Like, they want to make it a spectacle. Like, you want to see a dead body? No, I don't. Yes, I do. Are you talking about a real one? No, you wild. I'm telling my mother. Like, I was told, and it was a big thing. But I never told my wife that. That's crazy. Uh, but like fast forward back to people that you used to be in like fourth grade, fifth grade with, or middle school, and then you going to their school and y'all hanging out, riding bikes together, and then one day they want to be a gangbanger and then actually get murdered. It does take a little toll on you.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Um, Being desensitized to this shit is the worst thing I think that happens to anybody. Um, and this is before social media because I was born in '91. So this is before we had social media. This is like I have friends that got murdered before, like MySpace is a thing, you
Right.
know. And it's crazy, like it's strange. Well, a little bit after MySpace, but it wasn't like people wanted to be like social media famous. It was before the Tila Tequila thing, like before she became to star on. You feel me? Like she actually got my face famous, and it's like that's weird. But yeah, I remember my freshman year though. I met this girl, the first girl that ever spoke to me. High school. Her name was Cornelia Adams. She's like, "Hi, my name is Cornelia Adams. What's yours?" And I was terrified, and I told her my name, and then she was like, "Saikari, that's a funny name." And I'm like, "Yeah." And then me and her, we just was like tight, and it could have been a platonic thing, but then it couldn't have. You know, like it just was a good boy and girl friendship. It
Right.
was nice. And then she ended up dating a guy. Uh, well, we were good friends freshman year. Sophomore year, we kind of like we got into the main building because we had a freshman building in the main building, and we ended up getting some distance because we met some more people. The building was bigger. You know what I mean? We got
Right.
the upperclassmen now, and the juniors and the seniors. You know what I mean? So it was a lot different. And we kind of, not lost touch, but we kind of, kind of separated. We still had like a math class together and shit like that. I think algebra too. But junior year, well, sophomore year was really strange for me because I got into a lot of trouble. So I ended up losing my virginity. Now I want to hunt for box. Like I want fuck now. You know what I mean? I'm feeling
Yeah.
myself. My balls been dropped. Uh, one of my closest friends, he kind of put me in positions where I had to be aggressive and had to. Well, I was doing aggressive shit to people for unnecessary reasons. Like I just was, fucking around doing nut shit,
Right.
and ended up getting into the wrong crowd. And I could say it was the girls losing my virginity, didn't want to hang out with girls. My friends that I grew up with or around, the homies, of course, that's what we call them, right? Is my friends. We ended up starting to drink, so we only drink on weekends. I'm boxing them throughout the weekdays, going to school and boxing throughout the weekdays. And then on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, we go drink. We start drinking like little Mad Dogs, the $2 bottles of Georgie,
Yeah.
like weird shit. You've been around. You've been around. And I remember my guy I used to box with. He was like, "Hey yo, bro." So I boom. So the guy I box with, it's crazy because like he it's dope. We have a great relationship. Anyway, he's like, I'm drunk as shit. I'm in the backseat of my one of our other friends' car. I'm fucking slammed. This is when we got to our Bacardi shit. We start getting the gallons, and there's like 12 of us on 1 gallon of alcohol, having
Right.
cups, violent, and we were underage as fuck. We were underage and shit, and what was like 17 maybe, 16, yeah, and and he's like, yo, bro, you fucked up, bro. Look, just smoke a black amount, and he put a black amount, and I'm like, I don't smoke. I'm not smoking them shit. He's like, bro, it's gonna make you feel better. So I hit that mile, and it made me feel worse. Like I've never had tobacco in my lungs in my life. I was always against smoking. My parents smoke. I don't smoke. I don't want them smoking in the house. I'm a fighter. I'm an athlete. I don't do this shit. It's nasty. It's gross and it stinks. And I
Yeah.
hit it and I hated it. But it opened up a gateway. So now every weekend we drink. Then one of us got a black and mild. And then I hit the black and mild 2 hits. And I give it one of them. I'm good. I'm good. It boosts my drunk. It boosts my drunk. Stupid
Yeah.
kid shit. This is why you need to be a certain age to drink. Even adults can't even handle alcohol. But it got weird because after that time, now I drank a little bit, I smoked a little bit. I discovered, cannabis. With another friend of mine, the friend that was getting me in trouble into like, fighting and shit.
Right.
And then I met a different crowd of guys. These guys are tough, rough, young, gangbangers. Like they actually doing shit in my city. And I ended up doing that.
Oh,
So yeah, I turned, yeah, I did that. And that I could say it was probably the worst decision for a person of my potential because I have so much wasted time. And not just my potential, but a person of my caliber and character, you know.
yeah.
I'm I wanted to be and I still do strive to be the people's champ, you know. And I wasn't, necessarily asked to do bully stuff when it came to that. It just was the whole idea of being attached to something like that. It kind of crippled me and closed a lot of doors for me. Like certain places I couldn't go because I rep a certain color. You get what I'm saying? In the
Right. No,
city,
I understand.
the opposite color. Like it was for every two of us, it's like seven of them. So you know what I mean. So it was very crippling, and I missed out on a lot because of that. And I ended up, and it wasn't over the gang shit. It was just over some just with my people, my guys.
Yeah.
Um, I got a assault charge, so I got assault battery, and I ended up having to go to court for that. They was trying to hang me for that shit. I'm like, nah, like we got to do something. And my mom, she coached me through it because she spent 6 years of her life in jail. So she's like, oh, you gotta eat that, right? So she helped me
Yeah.
through that. They put me on RoboCop house arrest. So the second year of high school, I was like, gotta check in, but I had the gym, so it was like I can't be in the house because I'm a fighter. So I had some leeway. So on Fridays, I get to hang out until the gym closed, which is at 9 p.m. So I go to the gym, and the gym really closed at 7:30. So I'll be at the gym from 3:30 to 7:30, and then from 7:30 to 9, I get to hang out with my friends. So I can still drink, I can still fuck around and chill. They'll call me to see if I was in the house or not. Yeah, I'm gonna answer the phone, talk to them for a little bit, then go about my business.
Right.
But then my friends start hanging out around my house, so now I get to drink downstairs and hang out and chill, talk shit, all that good jazz that kids want to do. And then got in some more trouble. Alleged kidnapping.
Oh shit.
Somebody did something, and I still had this case pending. Somebody did something. Somebody said that they got beat up and kidnapped. My name got into it. I'm not saying I did it. What I'm saying is that's what happened. So I had these two charges. I had an assault and I had a possible kidnapping pending on me. And I'm like, what, 17 at the time? Yeah,
Wow.
16, 17. Yeah. So my mom's like, yo, you gotta get out. And this is all after she found the gun in my bedroom.
Oh
Like,
shit.
so she's like, yo, either you gonna tell your pops or I'm gonna tell your dad.
Right.
And I'm like my father's straight and narrow. He is straight dude. Like follow the rules. So you feel me? He's a working dude. If you don't work for it, you don't supposed to have it. He's not into none of that. And you know what I mean? His stepfather took him hunting and stuff like that. But like he's not into none of that gang shit. He's not into none of that violence and all that weird shit.
Right.
Oh, but bro, while you at work, your teenage boy is outside with people that's like that. Like nigga, where you at? That was my idea at the time. And it my mom she's like yo she kicked me out without kicking me out. So she's like yo you gotta go to Syracuse with your brother. So I ended up going to Syracuse with the same mentality. I ended up going to a school. It's actually a college preparatory. Um, Henniger High School in Syracuse, New York. I did that my junior year. Came back. Came back to Jersey. Missed my bus on purpose because I wanted to hang out with the homies.
Right.
Had to stay for another 2 months. Come back, do school late. Fucked up a little bit of credit, but it was cool because I ended up getting into Syracuse University.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because honestly, it was a school system. The schools in Jersey suck. Like
Oh,
there,
yeah.
when I went there, they actually like that's my first time ever passing math with a B. I had like three math classes. I had algebra two again, geometry, calculus, and I had some marketing, a marketing thing, and I also had a cinema class. This shit was so fucking fire, bro. Like those people actually care about the kids. I never had that happen to me. Like I passed a language for the first time. I passed Spanish for the first time in my life. Like it was great.
Wow.
But I was yearning for what I was used to. So I was only doing that until like I'm just gonna do this so I can get back home with my real people. Like I don't want to make friends. I don't want to be around any of y'all. And I could say if I ever had a regret in my life, it would be that not taking a full advantage of the new place I was at.
No, I can definitely understand that, but it's you got to look at it as if you didn't go through that, you may not be where you're at today.
And that's a fact because I wouldn't have met my wife.
Right.
Um, or I wouldn't have married her at least. But yeah, so I come back, me and her, I ended up, dealing with her a little more seriously. We got into a fight. She broke up with me. Uh, I still was doing the same shit when I was in Jersey. Only thing now is I went to Syracuse University for a little bit, almost 2 years, and well, just 2 years, yeah, got my associate, and I stopped doing the same shit, like bugging out. And then my father got diagnosed. Oh, my father actually got diagnosed with cancer my sophomore year. I mean, excuse me, my
Uh,
freshman year. So the same year we got the new house, is the same year he got diagnosed with cancer.
what kind of
Um,
cancer?
he had lung cancer.
Okay.
He got it from his factory work and shit like that. That's what he would say. I would say that and smoking, but
Yeah.
whatever. It's his story, not mine.
Right.
But yeah, it was hard to watch my father come from this. He used to be busting our ass in basketball. He used to take me and my cousins to the ballpark, and he had me at 38 years old. He was busting my ass all the way up until I was like 11, 12 years old in basketball on the court. So he's like in his mid 40s, late 40s, kicking my ass in ball. And
Right.
I'm like, yo, like you not healthy. Like how you smoke cigarettes and still work like that, and you drink beer, my boy. Like, this is so good. Um,
Man, I smoked
we
for
come
20
back,
years and I get winded walking up the stairs.
brother. I'm trying to tell you, bro. Yo, when I started smoking, I stopped only because I had a fight. Like still to this day, and I'm still very active. I still smoke.
Oh, do you?
hmm I
Man,
like
see,
cigars.
I quit. I didn't, I had a fear of being on oxygen, to be honest with you. So I was like, I'm stopping. I don't want that tube on my nose. Like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I seen that shit happen. That shit is annoying. It makes the people around you uncomfortable. Uh,
Yeah.
you kind of slow everything down because people got to make accommodations for you. You know.
Yep. Yeah.
Like me, like I don't smoke the way I used to. Like it was a time where I could only smoke when I drank, and then there was a time where I just smoked because. Now it's like if I have a smoke, it's because I got me a nice little whiskey, and I want to enjoy a cigar.
I
But
got
that's
you.
something I would do probably like twice a month maybe, which is
That's not
ironic.
terrible. That's not terrible.
It's ironic because once my father got diagnosed with cancer, and then they actually told me that he had cancer. My mother told me. I told myself that I wasn't gonna smoke no more. But I just started smoking. I literally just started smoking when I found out my father had cancer.
Oh,
Well,
man.
before I found out my father had cancer, and it was weird. But yeah, man, I came back home, grew my hair out. A girlfriend broke up with me because I didn't know how to control myself. I was being a dickhead, and I moved to Georgia. I moved to Covington, Georgia, for a bit with my cousin, my father's brother's son, right? So I lived out there for a little bit, and then I got my own spot, got my first car. And the only thing I had was my job and my car. Like I had my apartment, but I didn't really care because I was never there. I was working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week for a company called Golden State Food,
Okay.
where they make the sauces and package it for like Zaxby's, Popeyes,
Oh, okay.
McDonald's. They do all of that shit. And there's another plant where they make the ground beef. The shit is gross, brother. I'm not gonna hold you.
No, I believe it. I
After
believe it.
after working there, I've seen some shit, bro. Like it gets grim, bro. Like
Yeah,
that's I want to feed that shit to a dog or whatever.
I can imagine. I mean, I don't want to imagine, but I can imagine.
Please don't. Please don't, because we all have our little cheat days where we eat some shit, and then even the healthy food. But not to get off topic. Um, I went down there, and I will never forget this. I went on Facebook and I hit my ex girlfriend up, I'm not a kind of guy to say my ex girlfriend. Like I can't remember none of the chicks. And I've been with a plenty good amount of chicks. Like I'm not saying sexually. I will never speak about
Right.
my sexually or a female situation sexually because that's her privacy. That's her story to tell. If you ever slept with me, you could talk about it, but I'm not.
Right.
Um, yeah, I mean, who the fuck want to be painted as a, you know what I mean? Like that's her
Right.
business.
I got you.
Um, and plus I'm a gentleman now, so I wouldn't even, paint myself as this super bachelor. But I know I'm handsome as fuck and didn't have an issue with the ladies. Anyway, um, so I hit her on Facebook, and then she ended up answering like months later, like, "Do you remember what you promised me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I promised I was gonna marry her. That's the only girl ever." And I met her when I was like 17, and then we dated up until I was like 18, and then everything went sideways
Right.
because of me. But yeah, we rekindled on her 21st, around like she was 20 around the time. So we chatted, we talked a lot. I came back home to Jersey that October, and we had a good time, man. It was cool. I first went back to Georgia. I made sure I missed my trip because I just spent some more time with her. Then I went back, and then I just focused all of my energies on making sure I made as much money as I could, and then go do whatever I needed to do with her
Right.
back home, and I did. Um, Saved all my money up, got rid of my apartment, got rid of my car, stayed with my cousin for a little bit. Me and him had a falling out. He did some weird shit. Um, and then at this point I only had a job, so I had to stay at my job. Like I worked a double, and he's supposed to pick me up, and he didn't. So I had to walk 3 hours after doing a double, bro. Like from one to from 1 p.m. to no, from 2 to 2, from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Ooh.
2 p.m. to 2:30 a.m. He's supposed to pick me up and he didn't, so I had to charge my phone. I waited till like 3 to see if he was gonna get answer his phone. He didn't, so I had to walk in the pitch black dark of Georgia. And you know Georgia is it gets fucking dark. If you don't know, it gets fucking dark. Couldn't see shit, you know. And I had to walk for 2.5 hours. I didn't get home until about almost 6 in the morning. I remember it was 5:58 by the time I got to the edge of my neighborhood,
Oh,
and
jeez.
I was pissed. I was pissed because I got work again at 2 the next day. You feel me? It's a 7 day job.
Hey, real quick, I'm getting some feedback on when you're talking. I'm not sure why.
Oh, okay. I think I know what it is. One of my headphones is dying.
Oh, when your headphones is bad? That must be what that boop boop is that I hear.
I'm gonna see what it is. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so me and him got into the fallout. Um, and the only reason I moved with him is because I was helping him with his bills, and I was leaving anyway, and I was never in my. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you.
I was never in my apartment anyway, so why have it? And then he did trucking, so he's never home. There's nobody there with the mother of his children. He has 2 kids. Her, they by themselves. They were short on cash,
Jeez.
So I could help them with the money, and I could also be there as a defense for the family
Right.
when I'm not at work. But it was a beautiful experience with the kids and with her too. Like she was great. Um, as a I looked at her as a sister-in-law. Like she was great. But me and him got into a fallout after that whole situation. And I called my pops. My pops was alive at the time. He was like, "Yo, bro, just come home, bro. Like, fuck him. Like, he does that shit. Like, you know what type of person he is. And why would you just drop everything to help him when he wouldn't even do half of the shit that you would do for him?
Right.
He wouldn't do it for himself. Like he made a family and he can't take care of him. Why would you pick up his slack? You're not teaching him how to be a man. You're not showing him what a man is if you're gonna do what a man does for his own when you don't even have your own family to do that for. And I'm like, you're right. You're like, get back home and get to your girl and kiss your mother on the cheek. You haven't seen your mother in a while. I'm like, I got you, pop. Oh my god, I was worried about my job too. You feel me? Like I wanted a career in this space, and he's like, bro, it's other jobs. Don't do what I did. Like,
Yeah.
st- have your family, bro. You're around that age now, bro. Like, and at this time, I'm like 24.
Okay.
So I got home. My girl's 21 years old. You know, seen her for the first time in years. Last time I seen her, she was like 16. You know, so it was a really beautiful thing. Um, then we did us, man. We spent the maybe like less than a year, and then we got engaged that December, right after my birthday, and then that summer we got married. She got married at 22 years old.
Hey, if you're happy, that's all that matters.
Mm. I have a thing with happiness. I'm not really big on happiness because bad things can make us happy, or unhealthy things can make us happy. I
Well,
think joy is the thing that we all want. We just don't know it's joy because when happiness comes, it can also leave. But joy, it stays with you. You know, sometimes you gotta wake your joy up, but at least you know it's still there.
that's really fair. Actually, now that when when I hear you say that, it makes sense. So
I believe that happiness is more external. Like, oh wow, that makes me happy. You bought me a cake for my birthday, man. Versus, wow, man, like I actually did another year of life. You know, I'm this much closer to my last days.
right,
It feels good to know that I'm aware and I could just I could take it a little bit slow. It's a privilege, you know. And
so oh,
yeah,
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No,
Now go.
no, I'm just, I'm curious because you have you have such a positive outlook on everything, and how have you kept it with everything you've dealt with in life, with every struggle, even if you didn't realize it was a struggle or not, it was still a struggle. With everything you've
Right.
had against you, how have you kept that positivity for the most part?
That's a very interesting question. And I can hit you with the cliches. I could also, try to make something up on the fly. But to be honest, there's always more. Um, some of the shit may be genetic, you know. Like I'm built for stuff like that. And I'm a fucking gummy bear like my mom, man.
Right,
But what I do know is none of this shit belongs to me. I ain't asked to be here. Never asked to be alive. You know, you just
right,
wake up one and you kind of attach yourself to things, and then those things they're finite as well. They all just go away. They die. Um, I look at it as capability and honestly privilege. Like you can't really be upset at something that wasn't yours in the beginning. It's always going to be something better, but it's not going to look like it all the time.
yeah,
And after I
no,
learned that we do carry dead wood, it's like a scab. You feel what I'm saying? Like sometimes those pretty and nice things, they're actually terrible wounds that you don't know. And then you get a scab, something covers it. It takes it away from you. You can't see it the way you used to see it. And then once that scab leaves, you have a beautiful scar, which is a memory. This is all metaphorical speaking. And it's like, oh, I remember, but isn't the memory just as beautiful or even more beautiful as actually having a thing.
Yeah, no,
You get a chance
that's
to be better. And plus, people, it's just weird with people. We're not good, we're not bad, but how we interact with each other and how we interact with ourselves is such an amazing phenomenon. It's hard to be, it's hard to be depressed. It's hard to be, you know, negligent of the good if the bad wasn't good enough.
right.
Like the uncomfortable times are so amazing because it's hard and it hurts. And the only reason we recognize the hard and the hurt from those times is because we had a glimpse of something on the other side of the spectrum. Like
Yeah, that's no, that's fair, man. That's fair.
it's just it's weird and like yeah, I grieve. You know, I still grieve my parents. My parents passed away. You know what I mean? My father passed when I was engaged. He was the first one to see the ring. My mother passed away after my firstborn daughter was born. She didn't spend any time with my child, nor did she even come to my wedding. And I spent my good amount of time of blocking myself and not feeling that and not grieving.
Right.
Um, I spent a lot of time mad, like Daddy, why you leave? And then I realized his job was done because after he was gone, I had nobody to go to. Who's gonna teach me how to be a man when I'm just becoming a man? I get it, I'm an adult, but was I a man already? I wasn't.
Right.
When I became a man is when my father left. When his lessons, the things that he used to teach me and talk to me about, I didn't understand until I was in a position to actually have to apply it. A lot of that stuff happened after he passed away. He prepared me for everything I needed to become who I am right now and to be the man I am, the husband I am, and the father I am. Mission complete. So I salute him every day. God bless you, Pop. You did good, man. And my mom's like, well, shit. I got a wife that she's just like you, man. You did good too. Like,
Right.
you feel me? My firstborn daughter looks just like my mother. It's crazy. Um, and yeah, sometimes it's hard, but like my parents have been gone for about 7 years now. It don't get better. I mean, excuse me, you don't forget. You don't get over it. It don't
Right.
get better. You just learn how to live with it, and you learn how to cope in a way that's positive. Some people don't get out of those holes, but for me, it it's hard to look at things like why me when the to be honest, why not me? Who's more prepared for what happens to me in my life than me? Because now
Right.
I can have at my life. Like I could just do my life. I can't do it. Why not? Well, let's see if I can do it. Oops, I did
Right.
it. You can't do it. Let me try again. Well, shit, I fucked up. Well, maybe I can. It's not that I can't do it. I can't do it yet. Or maybe I could do it. I'm just doing it wrong. But I have the rest of my life to figure out all of this other shit. And a lot of this shit don't matter. It's not for us to figure out. It's for us to for it to come to us. And that's actually what keeps me. It keeps me, I guess, positive. I don't think I'm positive. I think I'm just.
Well, whether it's positive or you want to call it real or whatever it is, it's a refreshing outlook that not everybody has.
Yeah. And this is why we need your podcast. We need to have the anxieties and to feel like we aren't capable. To feel afraid. Like please be afraid. Be scared. Be second guess yourself. But don't cripple yourself when you do it. Like, fuck up.
Right. Nope. I feel that a lot because I've done that plenty of times.
And you better keep fucking up. You better keep making mistakes. But the best mistakes we could make is the mistakes that we don't make the same way. Make new mistakes. Like one of the biggest lessons I learned in my life is when it came to fatherhood, right? Was you're not a parent because you had a child. You're a parent because your child teaches you how to. So instead of looking at my children like, oh, I have to teach them and I have to do this, I have to no, you have to watch them. You have to study them. You have to learn them. And they teach you how to be a parent. And as a father, I know Mr. Neil, you're a father, right?
Yep.
So it's like you know that none of your children are the same.
Oh yeah. No, not even close.
But a lot of people don't understand that their children don't get the same parent. My firstborn daughter didn't get the same. Like she got one version of me and her mom. Then my second daughter got a different version of us. We were 3 years older, 3 years
Right.
more worn and torn, 3 years more healed maybe. And then with the new one, triple stack, she's getting a whole different set of parents. You know?
And it's funny because you know what, I had never looked at it like that. I'm glad you said that because I hope other people look at it that way. But raising my kids, I never thought of it that way. I thought I saw how they were different, but I never took into account how we were different.
Yeah, you're gonna learn, you're gonna grow. Whether you want to learn and grow or not, it's gonna happen to you.
Right. It
Like, isn't
most
that
definitely is.
either you're gonna be a little bitter old man? Me, I want to be the shit talker old dude when my daughter's bringing her teenage friends over, and I'm like, hey man, your mama know you here? Where your daddy at? All right, well, I gotta talk to your fine ass mama. Let her know you there. Call on the phone right now. Y'all ain't gonna be in my house fucking up my shit. And then you telling her y'all here when she told me y'all about to leave somewhere and your mama don't know where y'all going.
Right.
So fine ass mama, let her know y'all here. You better keep me away from your mama. I'm looking for a second wife. You feel me? I want to be able to joke. Like, you feel me? I want to be old as shit, embarrass my kids. Like, you feel me?
Right.
Like when my daughters get their first boyfriend, like, yo, daddy, I met a boy. Oh yeah, I bet. Talk to him. Feel me? Like I'm not gonna put the pressure on them, but I want to. I'm putting out the baby book. Like, hey yo, this is your man's right here. You want her right here? Look, this is how she used to look. Boom. Like, I'm trying to hit him with that. You feel me? Trying to
Right.
embarrass him.
That's probably
How
the
much
best
you
way,
looking
you know.
for him? Yeah. But my oldest, she's so goofy. She probably wouldn't even give a fuck. Like my second daughter, she like, nah, I ain't even going to daddy. Daddy be wildin'. But she a comedian though. Like she's the funniest person in my house, bro. Like my second daughter is the funniest person in my house, bro. Like, she's
Yeah.
literally
That's
yeah, man.
awesome.
It's beautiful, man. They keep you children keep you they keep you young, man. They keep you on your toes.
Yeah, they might keep you young, but they make you old as well. So
True, true. They stress you at a certain age, like but see mine is still young, so it's like, man, I can't imagine, preteens. Like what am I supposed to do with that when everybody has their fucking period? Like shit.
I'm telling you, if you're in, yeah, buckle up, man, because it'll be a ride.
I'm buying a dog. I'm the only guy in the house. I'm buying a dog. Well,
I feel you. I feel you. I had a male dog too, man. I feel you. So it it doesn't get easier. I'll tell you that. It's just it's a different set of issues from when they're toddlers or little kids. So it
yeah,
doesn't necessarily get easier, but it's fulfilling. I will say that you develop different relationships with them. You're able to converse with them in different ways and stuff like that. It's it's a bumpy ride, but they know who's there for them and stuff like that, and they know they if they can't talk to you, they got your wife. They can talk to you, and they'll still drive you
Yeah,
nuts, but you'll still be there for them.
absolutely, 100%. And it's sometimes where it's like they can't come to daddy about things, you know.
Right.
And I learned younger, like sometimes my coach was my, my trainer, like boxing. He was like another father to me. And if you look at the boys that boys that be on basketball teams and stuff like that, like they coaches be their dad sometimes. You feel me?
Oh
And
yeah.
I know that I'm not gonna always have the answers. So my guys is like sometimes my daughter might have to call one of my best friends, like, yo, uncle,
Yeah.
I'm
I
trying to.
mean,
I got this thing going on, but I don't know if my dad's gonna get it because he's gonna speak to me as a father. I need somebody to speak to me just as a man.
right.
Like not. I don't need my dad's lecture because as parents, we want our children to be great, and that pressure of us being their caretakers and parents, it it kind of takes away from. Uh, excuse me. It kind of takes away from. I have the one in my hand. It has to take away. It takes away from the message sometimes.
Right.
So podcasting. Thank you. And sometimes it takes more than the parent. You can't just be a dad through that, or you can't just be mom through that. Sometimes it takes the honesty to get the point across.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
And that's my
So
idea of it takes a village. you know.
yeah. No, it really does, man. So we'll kind of go ahead and wrap things up. I know it's been a little bit. Um, do you want to talk about like your podcast and stuff at all, or
Um.
I want to? It's up to you.
Yeah. I kind of do. I do.
So tell me
am.
what you got going on, or where everyone can find it, or where they can find you, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Well, I'm Saikari Master, the creator, host, and voice behind the Sweet Life Pod, where we create special moments for special people. And this privilege that I have to be here for strangers in common only shows how connected my aim is to help, share, and be closer to others. It's so important because I was able to do exactly what my aim was for others, for myself. I had a chance to be on one of the best podcasts I could possibly think of. Neil, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, man. It was great. It was great hearing your story, and you know, we'll get it out there, and I'll make sure I include links for your stuff and everything when we put it out. But man, you've opened my eye. Everyone I talk to opens my eyes on something, and you opened my eyes on some stuff, and I appreciate that. And you're more than welcome with me anytime. Anytime you want to come talk, I'm here.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. You've been such a wonderful host, very patient. um,
Yeah, it's all right, man. I've had issues every season, so I can't go a full season without something. So it's all right.
yeah, joyful,
Perfect. Well,
man.
then we'll end here, and I will talk to you soon.
All right. I'm Sakari Masters, and this is my chance to talk with
Thanks, man.
strangers.
All right. Thanks everyone for joining me for this episode. Um, Sakari was fantastic to talk to. He does have a podcast on Spotify as well called the Sweet Life Pod. You can look him up. Like he said, he's creating special moments with special people. It is a fantastic listen, and I know he's working on getting more out. You can find him on Twitter. I know He has, I believe he said, a Tumblr account as well. I'll get all that information and update the description of the pod to make sure it has all his links so you can find him wherever he needs to be found. I'm also gonna, I guess, gush a little bit about him. I met Saikari on social media through obviously promoting the podcast. He is a fantastic human being to talk to, and like I said during the pod, opened my eyes to a couple different things, especially when it comes to kids. So when my kids and how they're treated. So I can't thank him enough for being on the pod. I appreciate him being in my life now because he's not going anywhere, much like with everyone I talk to. As for us, you can find us on the socials at Sticko Podcast, Facebook, X or Twitter, still Twitter, Instagram. We're on Threads. We're on Snapchat. There's the YouTube channel's up, but that's going to take some time to get the episodes on. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow the podcast. That helps me out a ton. Also, email stickopodcast@gmail.com if you need to shoot me a message. However you need to get a hold of me, socials, email. I'm always online, so I'll respond as quick as possible. Until next time, then, be safe and don't be a stranger.